through. There's a lot of people online, and there's a lot of people posting. There's a lot of people posting interesting messages. But here's the thing. I'm quite sure it cannot be any other way. There's still an awful lot of people who are online who have very interesting stories to tell and are not posting them. It's those of us who may be more likely to be the introverts, highly sensitive people, perhaps sometimes people with autistic tendencies. It doesn't matter. Those people who prefer to be by themselves, not necessarily are too comfortable in big crowds. The ones that are like to be in their own cocoon, comfortable bubble, because that's what they learned is most safe, or at least used to be most safe. And I think it's very important that those people come out with their messages as well, with the thing they want to share with the world. Yeah, there is this thing about stille waters, diepe gronden. And I want to bring up one major reason why that is important. We need to hear their stories, these stories. But first I want to say that it's very understandable, and I can see many reasons why the introverted ones and there's quite a bit of people who are not coming out with their stories. I have a hard time putting their face online. Of course, it's a vulnerable thing to do, especially if you want to come with an authentic message. And coming with an authentic message, of course, is also hard when you've been masking, which is essentially what all of us do to some degree. Masking, it's a term that's especially used when it comes to autism, but like I said, everyone does it, as long as they're not awakened, I guess. Masking then can mean that we're kind of hiding our true, I don't know, behaviors, emotions, thoughts. We try to act in line with what we expect, or what we believe is expected from us, in line with our conditionings, which means we're not being authentic, right? And which also means that actually being authentic will be hard. So it's very understandable. The system essentially pulls us away from being authentic. And coming with authentic messages then is understandably hard and not easy. It's very vulnerable, of course. I mean, there's some fear involved to actually do it. But here's a main message that I had only realized just recently, also just for myself. A major reason why you still want to do the effort, break through the fear, through the vulnerability, especially if you're on the spiritual path and you care about awakening, self-realization. One of the important things, of course, from that perspective, is that we start to look at ourselves from a higher perspective, not the usual way from inside our heads, the way we see the world, but look at it from a higher perspective, from a meta perspective if you want, in a non-judgmental way, in a loving way. Look at those thoughts, look at those emotions, rather than being them, rather than identifying them. Look at them from a higher perspective. That's a big thing, or that is the big thing when it comes to awakening and self-realization, right? Look at those emotions and try to look at them for what they are, emotions and thoughts. They're not you. You are the one, you, me, whoever is looking at their own behavior and emotions are the one who is looking at them. You know, there's very interesting analogies and metaphors for this. I might come up with some of those later. But in a nutshell, we are the sun. We are not anything that the sun is shining on. Like if there's the mountains on earth, there's the rivers, all of these things could be equated with our thoughts, with emotions. But we are not, if a mountain is an emotion, we are not the mountain. The sun is what we are, and the sun is shining its light on the mountain, on the rivers, on everything else. Does that make sense? And of course the underlying idea is that putting yourself out there on a video, for instance, on YouTube, on any other platform, may make it easier for you to look at what you said, to look at those fears, you know. So it's an interesting step in the awakening process. Extra interesting because it's not always easy to find your shadow sides, the things that we do not very much like to look at. Sometimes it's also not easy, and if we have a hard time putting ourselves out there on a video, on the web, with something that might feel personal or at least vulnerable. Now I'm losing my thread. Well, no, that means that is an example of perhaps our shadow side, or is something that we don't really like to look at very much, or at least that we're judgmental about. And that's the one thing. So from that perspective, it might be an easy exercise. Put yourself out there. Look at yourself. Be non-judgmental. Come up with a loving attitude, non-judgmental, and just observe. And that by itself is very interesting, because if previously your judgment was that, well, I don't want to be a table jumper, I don't want to be egotistic, it shouldn't be about me, or I don't want to be narcissistic, whatever the thoughts are that may come up. This one is really, it's not about that. It's about, or it can be about, and we can make it about, self-realization, facilitating the awakening process, you know. And if we can raise our own level of vibration, in addition, and automatically, we're also raising the vibration of the collective. And let me tell you, that is certainly not narcissistic. That's exactly what we need. So we need your story too. And I hope this one helps. I'm not saying this because I know all those things, or I'm an expert in this, because I'm not. But this particular one has helped me. So that's why I wanted to share it.